Hello everyone, Weather Jamaica here. Welcome to this updated video on the weather across Jamaica and the rest of the Caribbean. It is Friday evening, May 31, 2024. Now before we jump into it, please ensure that you guys like the video. I really appreciate the fact that you guys got my last video up to 100 likes, and I would love it if you do the same for this video. Just 100 likes is all I'm asking for. If you don't know by now, that's how the YouTube algorithm works. We all like the video and the YouTube algorithm pushes the video out to more weather lovers and rain lovers just like you guys. And we really want to build this weather community as we head into the peak of hurricane season so that we can keep everyone safe. Share this video with your friends, your relatives, your co-workers, and your church brethren. And subscribe if you haven't yet done so. Leave a comment down below letting me know what the weather's been like in your area recently. Also, feel free to ask any weather related question that you might have about the future of the weather in your specific area. Alright, so let us take a look at this video that was posted on the first day of May, highlighting what would have been expected during the month of May in terms of rainfall. So I usually do these at the last day of the month and make forecasts for the entirety of the next month. So we can see in this video that was posted on the first day of May, we highlighted the fact that the GFS was showing some amount of greens across the Jamaica area that represents above normal rainfall. I guess we could say that yes, we experienced some above normal rainfall, but more of that was confined to northern and western Jamaica. Most of us here on the south coast were burning up with all of the very hot weather and the dry weather, as a matter of fact. So I guess we could say that it verified in a way for a part of the island, but not necessarily for everyone at all. And the fact that it was showing above normal rainfalls represented by these greens just goes to show that these maps aren't 100% accurate, and we just have to take these forecasts with a grain of salt. Either way, let's take this forecast for June with a grain of salt. So the last time it showed most of the rainfall across southern Jamaica. Now yes, we still have Jamaica embedded in some amount of greens for the month of June, as shown on the CFS, that's the climate forecast system. We can also see that we have the darker shades of greens and even some blues in there, especially right there between Jamaica and Cuba, definitely affecting northern Jamaica. We'll see how that goes. But what do the other models show? Because we know that we have to look for what both of them or the other three are showing in order to make, a good forecast. We have to have consensus with what they're showing. We have to have some amount of certainty. The CANTIPS model right here showing that yes, we're gonna be receiving above normal rainfall as represented by the greens, but we do see more of those darker shades of greens and those blues displaced off to the east. So more so sections of Haiti, the Dominican Republic, Puerto Rico, those are the spots that are being forecasted to get most of the rainfall in June. So clearly we have some agreement and some disagreement, because Haiti, the Dominican Republic, not getting much rainfall according to the CFS. Finally, the NMME model is kind of in consensus with what the CANTIPS is showing. We do see the above normal rainfall, especially across the Greater Antilles leading into the northeastern Caribbean, but it's not as robust as what the CANTIPS was showing with all of those darker greens and even blues. We'll see exactly what unfolds. As I said before, we just have to take all of these forecasts with a grain of salt because they're not set in stone. They could happen, they might not happen. We'll just have to stay updated to see exactly what unfolds. Even the precipitation outlook for the Caribbean from the CARICOF, that's the Caribbean Climate Outlook Forum, is forecasting above normal rainfall for a section of the Greater Antilles, Cuba, the Cayman Islands, Haiti, the Dominican Republic, Puerto Rico. But we see that the darker shades of blues that represent more rainfall should be across sections of the Eastern Caribbean, especially the Leeward Islands right there. We know all of these blues represent what we see on the key on the bottom, way above normal of rainfall. So there is some consensus that there's definitely going to be some above normal rainfall. We know the greens, as you can see by the key on the right, represent above normal rainfall, into the blues, and what the Caracoff is showing is very much in line with what the other models are showing for June. By the way, keep in mind that what the Caracoff is showing right here is not only showing it for June, but it's kind of a blend between June, July, and even into August. So who knows, we might even get less rainfall in June and more of that rainfall in July and August. It's just a waiting game at this point. Either way, if we take a look at what the next 7 days hold from the Euro and the GFS models, keep in mind that we're going to be focusing our attention right here across the Caribbean, where we have Jamaica right here, and we're going to be focusing our attention on the forecast hour and date. We're just going to be going out to the next 168 hours. That's the next 7 days, and we're going to be looking for all of this that we see on the right, the greens that represent above normal rainfall or rainfall in general. So first, let's look at the Euro model. We're just going to be going out in time. So first things first, we see that as early as Saturday, so tomorrow, we're definitely going to be getting some rainfall according to this map. This is 12Z on Saturday. That's actually 7 a.m. Jamaica time, and we see the green starting to come into portions of Jamaica that represent rainfall. And as we go out in time some more, even some more of that rainfall into Sunday right here, as we can see by the timestamp. This is 7 a.m. Jamaica time on Sunday. Still have some greens across the island. Look at Monday, something similar. 7 a.m. on Monday shows even more rainfall. Going out into Tuesday, something similar. It's quite interesting to see all of this, especially considering that last week we were seeing some of that for this time period. We were seeing some of that for this week and even last week. So we know how the models go already. They show rainfall. It might not necessarily verify at all. The area might get rainfall, but not your area at all. Maybe out to sea or in areas that have already been getting that rainfall. We'll see exactly what unfolds. Either way, let's look at the GFS now. We can see here that as of 12Z on Saturday on the GFS, we're seeing that green that the Euro was showing that represents rainfall across section of southern and eastern Jamaica. Skipping ahead into Sunday, we don't see as much. We see the rain surrounding the islands represented by the greens. Going ahead into Monday, something similar to what the Euro was showing, into Tuesday as well. But we see that it's starting to taper off in a way as we head into Wednesday, Thursday into Friday, kind of coming back. It's kind of a mixture, kind of a fluctuation. Either way, we see the differences, we see the consensus, and as stated, we're only just gonna be stopping at the next 168 hours, the next 7 days. So by Friday, clearly both maps are showing that there's gonna be some amount of rainfall affecting section of Jamaica, and the accumulated precipitation forecast maps are in consensus with this. Look at all of the purples that we see here. Keep in mind that this map from the Euro and this map from the GFS are both showing all of the rainfall totals that are expected. And we can see that from the key on the right, we're seeing a lot of purples that represent up to what? Maybe up to even 4, maybe even close to 5 inches of rainfall. GFS showing more of that across eastern Jamaica than anything else. Euro showing more of that across majority of Jamaica, especially into eastern Cuba. We'll see exactly what unfolds, and I'll definitely be here to keep you posted, because all of that rainfall would be very much welcome. Alright, so let us take a look at the surface map of the Atlantic for this evening. We can actually see a possible reason for the rainfall that's expected on Saturday into the weekend, into Sunday, into early Monday and Tuesday. We see a tropical wave right here, as represented by this red line right there to the south of Haiti. It's definitely making its way westward. As we know, all of these push towards the west in the easterly flow brought about by the ridges of high pressure. We can also see another tropical wave right here to the northeast of South America, and another right here to the southwest of the Cabo Verde Islands. If we take a look at the visible satellite images of the Atlantic before the sun went down, we can see that we still have somewhat of leftover clouds associated with a cold front that was affecting portions of the southeastern United States a couple days ago. We can see that section of Cuba definitely picks up on some thunderstorm, well, some afternoon thunderstorm activity. As you can see, those high cold cloud tops being sheared off towards the north and east. We can see right here the fast moving low level clouds from east to west, all associated with that tropical wave, and all of this is going to be pushing westward. Definitely going to be bringing some amount of rainfall to sections of especially eastern Jamaica tomorrow. We'll see exactly what unfolds. We can see the clouds associated with that other tropical wave, another tropical wave right here to the southwest of the Cabo Verde Island, and another one getting ready to emerge off of the coast of Africa. We'll be talking some more about the weather across the rest of the Caribbean later on. Let us focus our attention on the prediction that was made in yesterday's video about the weather across Jamaica for today. It was stated that the weather pattern has been stuck with all of this upper level wind shear from the southwest, bringing more of that rainfall across sections of some northern and western parishes in Jamaica. And it was forecast that northern and western Jamaica would receive more rainfall on Friday afternoon. And we know northern parishes, we're talking about Portland, St. Mary, St. Anne, Trelawney, St. James, Hanover. While western parishes, we're talking about those parishes in the county of Cornwall, so Hanover, St. James, Trelawney, Westmoreland, St. Elizabeth. And what ended up happening? At 3:55 p.m. a post was made on our Twitter page at Weather Jamaica. A post was also made on our Instagram page at weather.jamaica, on our TikTok page at Weather Jamaica, and on our Facebook page at Weather Jamaica 876. So if you have one of those social media platforms, please ensure that you follow us there, as we make posts throughout the day that you can't afford to miss. Posts that we don't even make here on our YouTube page. So we can see that during the afternoon, the visible satellite images were posted, and they highlighted the fact that we were receiving some afternoon thunderstorms across where sections of some northern and western parishes, even some inland areas of some central parishes, more so some northern areas of some southern parishes more than anything else, got in on that afternoon rainfalls. We see those sparkling yellow dots that represent some amount of lightning flashes, if not lightning strikes. So it definitely has some amount of isolated afternoon thunder shower activity taking place across sections of northern St. Elizabeth, sections of Hanover and Westmoreland, not to mention sections of southern St. James, Trelawney, northern Clarendon, northern St. Catherine as well. If we take a look at the visible satellite images of Jamaica before the sun went down, we know the visible satellite images here show a higher definition of the clouds and everything else. We see those high cold cloud tops being blown up towards the north, some leftover low level to mid level clouds right there across inland areas of some central and western parishes. And we see that by the time the sun went down, majority of the bad weather was out of here. And if we take a look at the latest infrared satellite images, we don't see anything much across the Jamaica area at all. Just some leftover mid to upper level clouds being pushed off from southwest to northeast in that upper level wind shear. But we definitely saw at the beginning of the run that we saw those thunderstorms across the very areas that we just saw on the post on Twitter. If we take a look at the Cuban Doppler radar, we can see that it's saying information no disponible temporalmente. So they're basically saying that the information is temporarily unavailable. So if the Jamaican radar is down and the Cuban radar is down, where do we go to? Well, luckily I found some radar sites out there. This one is the Guantanamo Bay. If you don't know by now, Guantanamo Bay, they have a US prison over there, and they have some military centers down in there as well. And they also installed a Doppler radar, but unfortunately the Doppler radar doesn't show much across Jamaica, just mainly the northern and eastern portion of the island, more so the northeast than anything else, a section of Portland and St. Thomas. That's as much as we can see. And we do see that there's nothing taking place across Jamaica at this time. Most of the rainfall right there associated with the afternoon thunderstorm that they got across Cuba today. And in order to see the western half of the island, I have to be depending on the Cayman radar. So we can see that we still have some leftover rainfall, those blues right there. Definitely all courtesy of those upper level clouds being pushed off towards the northeast. Some of these clouds do have some amount of light rainfall in there, and we can see that being represented right here on the Cayman radar. Oh, we only wish the Cayman radar was, had a bigger range so that we could see all of Jamaica. Hopefully the Haitian government installs a radar that's big enough to show all of Jamaica if they're able to afford that. Alright, so let us take a look at the temperatures right now. We can see that we have 28 degrees Celsius in Montego Bay, 28 degrees Celsius in Kingston, and by about 4 a.m. on Saturday, temperatures should dip down to about 26 degrees Celsius in both Montego Bay and Kingston. Taking a look at the temperature forecast for tomorrow, this map from the GFS is showing 18D on Saturday. When we calculate that, that's 1 p.m. on Saturday, and we see Jamaica right here embedded in some gray and some bluish colors. And we can see that from the key on the right, the grays and the bluish colors represent anywhere from 0, which is average temperatures, and the blues, which are below average temperatures, maybe down to 1 or even 2 degrees Celsius below average. And considering that we're heading into the month of June, we are heading closer, even closer to 90 degrees Fahrenheit. 90 degrees Fahrenheit is about the same as 32 degrees Celsius. So we should be receiving 32 as the average, and maybe 2 degrees Celsius below normal. So it should be anywhere from 30 to 32 degrees Celsius at most for Jamaica's temperature on Saturday. And with the tropical wave in the vicinity, it's possible that it could even feel cooler than that, especially where we're having showers and thunderstorms. Taking a look at the dry air map, we can see that the dry air is represented by what we see on the key on the bottom, the yellows, the oranges, the reds, and the whites within those reds. And we can see that we don't have much dry air across the Caribbean basin at all, especially across Jamaica, where we're being plagued by the numerous troughs and tropical waves. We see most of the dry air across the Gulf of Mexico, not to mention right there across the northern portion of the North Atlantic into the eastern portion of the main development region. If we take a look at the Saharan dust forecast, keep in mind that this map is showing 2 p.m. on a Saturday. We can see the browns that represent the Saharan dust stretching all the way from Africa across the main development region into the Caribbean, and we see those darker shades of browns that we know represent that vigorous plume into the northeastern Caribbean, stretching right here into portions of Jamaica. So if we get to see the sun out tomorrow across Jamaica, we're definitely going to be seeing some hazy skies, maybe triggering some amount of respiratory illnesses in some people. Who knows, asthma, sinusitis, you name it. So ensure that you have your meds ready, because we know how bad the Saharan dust can be. Taking a look at the wave forecast for tomorrow, both maps from the Euro and the GFS are showing that we're gonna be receiving those blues surrounding the island tomorrow. We know the blues represent what we see on the key on the bottom right, anywhere from 1 to 1.5 meter wave heights, and that's because the winds are gonna be coming in from the east for the most part. However, we see a difference in what both the Euro and the GFS are showing. Euro is showing more so in lieu of those greens, those brighter greens, especially on the south coast, that we know represent anywhere from 15 to 20 knots, maybe 5 to 10 knots on the north coast. GFS a bit more robust, especially out to sea where we see those yellows. Those yellows we know represent anywhere from maybe 25 to 30 knots. We can see that across the Jamaica area we have more so in lieu of those greens and those blues. It's gonna be quite an interesting day. And the upper level winds are still coming in from the southwest, so we can't rule out some more of that rainfall favoring northern Jamaica than anything else. We know how these things go already. Let's look back at the infrared satellite images so you can see what I'm talking about. So when we had the thunderstorms today, we saw that yes, we had some buildup of clouds causing some isolated showers across inland areas of some central western parishes, but we had those high cold cloud tops being blown off towards the northeast by the southwesterly wind shear, bringing more overcast skies to the north, and sometimes the upper level wind shear pushes that off towards the north and even brings rain to the north. So we'll see exactly what unfolds tomorrow. Either way, looking at the rainfall forecast maps, these maps are why we're here. We want to know where it's going to be raining tomorrow. So we can see that as early as 7 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, which is actually 6 a.m. Jamaica time, we see some consensus with some amount of blues that represent rainfall across eastern Jamaica. Euro showing maybe sections of St. Mary, Portland, than anything else. GFS showing sections of Portland, St. Thomas, even sections of Kingston and St. Andrew spilling into sections of St. Catherine than anything else for 6 a.m. rainfall. We'll see exactly how that goes. We know how these models are, they're not set in stone. Skipping ahead to about 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, which is actually 9 a.m. Jamaica time, we see the blues that represent rainfall. GFS a bit more robust than the Euro model. Euro showing some dots of blues here and there that represent rainfall, especially across the east, so we still see that rainfall in the east. GFS way more robust, showing widespread rainfall across sections of Portland, maybe section of St. Thomas, Kingston, St. Andrew. We see those darker shades of blues, maybe even spilling into section of Manchester, Clarendon. We'll see how that goes at 9 a.m. We're more inclined to believe what the afternoon shows. Look at the afternoon forecast. These maps are showing 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, which is actually 1 p.m. Jamaica time, and we see that we have rainfall across eastern, central, and western parishes in Jamaica. So we have the consensus, especially right there across the east. We see those darker shades of blues, even some greens. Definitely some heavy rainfall in store for sections of Portland than anything else. And even by 5 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, is actually 4 p.m. Jamaica time, both maps are still showing some amount of rainfall affecting the island. And even into 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, is actually 8 p.m. Jamaica time, we still see much of the same plaguing eastern Jamaica. Some more blues that represent rainfall, and it makes sense that the accumulated precipitation forecast maps for the next 24 hours are showing most of the rainfall across the east. GFS showing more rainfall than the Euro. GFS showing up to 0.82 of an inch of rainfall across sections of the east. Euro showing up to 0.54 of an inch of rainfall, maybe across sections of Kingston and St. Andrew. We'll see exactly how that goes. Either way, both maps are in consensus that it's going to be raining somewhere across Jamaica tomorrow, and we're indeed grateful for that. According to this map, showing the records from 1996 to 2015, the average rainfall during the month of June across Jamaica are about 133.35 millimeters of rainfall. However, if we look at these bar graphs, one at the top showing Kingston, the one at the bottom showing Montego Bay. In Kingston for the month of June, apparently we're supposed to be receiving less rainfall during the month of June than in May. In May, we were receiving, or we should have been receiving, up to 100 and let's say 35 millimeters of rainfall. That's about, let's see, about if not 5 inches of rainfall. According to this map, June is supposed to be giving us about 100 and maybe 10 millimeters of rainfall. So that's about 4, maybe 4.2 or 4.3 inches of rainfall. But look at Montego Bay here. According to this map, May is supposed to bring them 6 inches of rainfall. That's what, almost 150 millimeters of rainfall. Keep in mind that 25 millimeters of rainfall make up an inch of rain. So let's say up to 150 millimeters in May, and then in Mobe they're expected to get an increase. That's what, almost 7 inches of rainfall. So they're definitely gonna be in for it. Hopefully we get most of that rainfall tomorrow, but with that upper level wind shear coming in from the southwest, it might not be promising for the south coast at all. But we'll see exactly what unfolds. We're keeping our fingers crossed. Hopefully we get that rainfall. Alright, so that is it for the forecast across Jamaica. Let us focus our attention on the rest of the Caribbean. So we can see that we have some amount of clouds bring overcast skies and showers and even some thunderstorms in sections of the central United States. That rainfall that we saw across sections of Cuba associated with that afternoon thunderstorm, not to mention some rainfall across sections of the southern Bahamas into the Turks and Caicos, all courtesy of the cold front that was affecting portion of the United States a couple of days ago. We can see the clouds associated with the tropical wave pushing from east to west to the south of Hispaniola. And you can see leftover clouds associated with a trough affecting portions of Central America, Nicaragua, Honduras, Costa Rica, not to mention sections of Colombia, Venezuela, Guyana, Suriname, French Guyana as usual. We can also see a flow of clouds pushing in from the east into sections of the Windward Islands. So even sections of Barbados, St. Lucia, St. Vincent and the Grenadines, Trinidad and Tobago are getting in on some amount of rainfall even as we speak, as they even got in on some of that today. If we take a look at the Doppler radar images of the northeastern Caribbean, let's see what we're seeing right now. We don't see much happening right now at all. They're finally getting a break over there. As relates to what we're seeing on the Barbados radar though, we don't see much happening across Barbados right now. But if we zoom out, we do see that rainfall that we just saw in the satellite images pushing from east to west to the north and south of Barbados. So some of that rainfall definitely going to be making its way into sections of St. Lucia, sections of St. Vincent and the Grenadines, definitely getting nailed right now. Some of that rainfall going into Tobago as well. If we take a look at the wider view of Doppler radar images, we can see that rainfall that we mentioned on the Cuban radar definitely affecting sections of Cuba as we speak. We can also see some rainfall across sections of northern Honduras and some rainfall to the east northeast or the northeast of Belize. If we scroll down, we can also see some isolated pockets of rainfall into sections of northwestern Venezuela, Colombia and French Guyana. If we take a look at the temperature forecast for tomorrow, this map from the GFS is showing 18Z on Saturday, which is actually 1 p.m. on Saturday. We see Jamaica right here. We already spoke about Jamaica, but average to below average temperatures, while central and southern Caribbean above normal temperatures, as represented by the yellows and oranges, way above normal temperatures, still plaguing sections of Mexico and portions of Central America as represented by those reds, as we can see everything being represented by the key on the right. Taking a look at the Saharan dust forecast for 2 p.m. on Saturday, we do see that we still have a lot of Saharan dust plaguing sections of the central and eastern Caribbean, and there's still a lot more where that came from, all of this pushing from east to west. We can even see the outline of the next tropical wave right here, putting a dent in the dust, moistening the atmosphere. We're going to be seeing a lot more of that as we head into the peak of hurricane season. So all of this is going to be pushing westward, bringing some rainfall to section of the Windward Islands into this weekend, maybe even Sunday, maybe Saturday. Taking a look at the wave forecast for tomorrow, we can see that we still have those blues across the majority of the Caribbean that we know represent anywhere from 1 to 1.5 meter wave heights, as we can see by the key on the bottom right. And that's because the winds for the most part are going to be averaging anywhere from 10 to 15 to even 20 knots in some spots, gusting to even 25 knots, especially to the south of Jamaica, to the north of northwestern Venezuela. Right there we see those yellows. As it relates to the rainfall forecast now, it makes sense that sections of the waters, especially to the south of Jamaica, are going to be picking up a lot of rainfall within the next 24 hours, all courtesy of the tropical wave. So we know that these maps from the Euro and the GFS are showing all the rainfall that's expected from now up until 10 p.m. on Saturday. And we can see that there's consensus for rainfall on both the Euro and the GFS models. Or, as a matter of fact, let me do this again, because we want to show the consensus for the areas. Alright, so there's definitely some amount of rainfall in store for sections of southeastern Cuba, the Bahamas, the Turks and Caicos, section of Haiti, the Dominican Republic, sections of Jamaica, sections of the Windward Islands, the Guadeloupe, Dominica, section of Martinique, St. Lucia, section of St. Vincent and the Grenadines, sections of Barbados, not to mention sections of French Guyana, Suriname, Guyana, Venezuela, section of Colombia, Panama, Costa Rica, Nicaragua, Honduras, as well as sections of Belize, southern Guatemala, El Salvador, getting in on the action. And the thing is, we know that when both models, the Euro and the GFS, are showing something similar like this, the chances of it happening are much higher. Alright, so that's it for today. Thanks for watching.